Already? Okay, so our advisory note system. This is pretty interesting. So there's a system called Dash, and Dash is one of the original cryptocurrencies, or after the Bitcoin and the 2.0 phase. And Dash implemented a system called the Dash Master Node System. And what happens in that is if you have 1,000 Dash, you can stake a node, and those nodes get paid a little incentive to run the node. But the main focus of them is that they can create community proposals, and then other nodes can vote on those proposals as to what they do sort of with the company's stash of funds that are available for community development in Dash. Now, we thought that was really cool. So we implemented an advisory node system. So if you have 30,000 Academy tokens, you can stake a node on our network, and you can create a proposal, and you can vote on the proposals of other nodes as to what our elective curriculum should be. And so what this is a blockchain-based, transparent way for us to poll the industry as to what our curriculum needs should be, to make sure that they don't stagnate, to make sure that we're maintaining exposure to the cutting-edge technologies, the things that are going to lead to people continuing to be highly employable. And so this is another use case for our token if you want to stake a node. We didn't design it as a money-making thing. But the market kind of always has its way. We started getting companies that were buying into our sales specifically for the purpose of staking nodes, but they didn't really run a technology company. And so we were like, hey, that's awesome. Obviously, we're not going to stop you from buying our tokens, but could you just let us in on the joke as to why you're buying nodes? And they actually see that in the future, the value of these nodes, as the price goes up, it's going to go up exponentially. And so the influence of being able to have a say in what this curriculum means is going to be very important. It's going to be very impactful for blockchain companies. So we're very excited about this. We think it's going to be a really great product. There we go. So we have a very interesting token mechanic. When we take in a token, an Academy token for tuition or service fees at Academy, we instantly burn 70% of them. So 70% of that leaves the token supply and never comes back. And then 15% of it goes into a dedicated scholarship fund. And we use scholarship funds for direct scholarship, like you all know them, but also for us to incentivize going into markets that otherwise wouldn't be profitable for us to go into. So we can go into developing nations where the impact of having a school that can teach high-tech training would resonate higher, but the profit margin is lower. So it wouldn't be viable for us to go in there from a money standpoint. We can actually use these funds directly to do that. And then this other 15% for community development, that money is actually managed by our advisory node system. So if you vote to create a class like you guys should be teaching PGP cryptography, and I would like to have a PGP cryptography class there. And if that system gets voted for, not only does that agree that we're going to do it, but the node system actually funds it. So we don't actually have to pull resources out of anything else to create that. The resource is there, and it comes with the proposal to create this new curriculum. We think this is a paradigm shift in how universities and educational systems can actually develop their curriculum in tandem with the marketplaces that they support and the industries that they support. And we think it's going to be a really big success. And we're already seeing a lot of interest in this. And I think it's just going to be great. And that's it. That's us, Academy School of Blockchain and our token sale. I know we're running a little bit behind on time, but I think we have a little bit. I'll be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any questions about what we're doing or what we could do or anything like that. Yeah, right here. I love that. So just write up with how much the token's going to cost. So we're doing a $50 million raise. Currently, we're in pre-sale for our token. Our token's currently $1. Our public ICO will be next month. Our public sale is at $2. A node costs 30,000 tokens to run. So currently, staking a node would cost $30,000 if you were to get into our pre-sale right now for it. But if you think about it and you're good at math on any level, because we burn so much of our tokens, just physically getting access in the future to being able to stake a node is going to be increasingly difficult, and it's going to be increasingly more expensive to do it. So if you think that there's some reason that you or an institution you're a part of or a company that you advise might want to have a dog in this fight in terms of what we teach in the future, I think it's a great investment. I think it's a great thing to do right now, not from a monetary standpoint, but from an influential standpoint, and being able to stay abreast of the changes in curriculum and being able to at least have a say in what we're doing. Anything else? Yeah. It's actually completely proprietary. We built it all ourselves from the ground up. We own the whole dev team. They support it. It was actually one of the main driving factors behind us purchasing Soft Uni. We were in the market for a white label LMS solution, and we looked at pretty much everything. And there's some good stuff out there, but a lot of it's really crap. And when we were talking to the guys from Soft Uni, we ended up talking to them because they were in development of a blockchain curriculum as well. And just a friend of a friend from like an alumni network hit me up and it's like, hey, my friends are doing this in Bulgaria. You should come check it out. And that wasn't super interesting to me because it seemed weird that there was like a Bulgarian university that was doing blockchain, and I just kind of put it off my radar. And then I was speaking in Kiev, Ukraine, and this team just cornered me. And they were like, look, you should check out what we're doing. It's really cool. And they showed me the curriculum they had worked on, and they showed me this incredible LMS system that they've built. And it is by far the most cutting-edge LMS, the most dynamic, granular in terms of data collection from it and usability that I've ever seen in LMS. And so purchasing of that LMS was a huge driving factor in why we acquired that company. Yep. Yes, yeah, it's an ERC20 token. So our token it's staked to the Ethereum network.
What about the courses? There are several cryptocurrency or blockchains, you know, different features, philosophies. How do you choose which one to choose? Or
That's it. It's an absolute great question. So what he's saying is like, there's a lot of different blockchains out there. Like, how do you determine which ones you teach? How do you determine what's relevant? So I'll just back up and I'll talk to you about what our core curriculum is that we teach in our 6-week immersion program. We start with Bitcoin because Bitcoin's where everything started. So we teach blockchain primitives and Bitcoin primitives, and then we go up, and so our students build a blockchain wallet. They learn about sending transactions and what transaction headers mean and what consensus means and all of those sorts of things. And then we go into level 2 technologies, into layer 2 technologies on Bitcoin. And then we go through all of those, and we talk about different solutions in the market for that, and we give exposure to that level of technology. And then we go into Ethereum, and we do the MIST client, and we talk about how transactions work on the Ethereum network, and we get into smart contracting, and then the last half of the class is working in Solidity, specifically for smart contract development. And our students actually build 2 distributed applications as part of our curriculum during that class. Now, there's a lot of technologies out there, and there's even more of them that are being created. And what you're talking about right now, we actually look at as a huge issue. Like, how do we stay abreast? How do we do this? And so our advisory note system that we talked about is our solution to that. It's a way for the community to tell us what we should be teaching. And you know, obviously, we're going to keep our ear to the ground. We have relationships all across the industry, and we're going to keep doing our best to provide what we think is the core stuff that people should be learning. But we're not going to get everything. And so it's great that we have this advisory note system. So we basically have this decentralized board of governors that can give us input on things that might be relevant and that we should teach. And so what we're seeing is sort of alternative technology companies, people like Dash and EOS and Monero, they're staking nodes specifically so that they can have a voice. And they can say, hey, we think that we're relevant. We have a large community. We're doing this. We think that this is better than this. And you should at least expose your students to that. And we have this method where we don't have to be involved in it. The community can tell us that. And then they can vote amongst themselves as to what the community thinks is relevant. And then once they've done that and they've decided it gets funded. And we can use all of our high-end course creators and all of our technologists to build that curriculum out and teach it. Anything else? Yes, sir, Mr. Aldo.
Yes, Jason. So the advisory nodes are going to work as a master node. I mean, you said that they're going to be like staking.
No, I said that they're based on the master node system.
But for the advisory, to be able to give some kind of governance or feedback.
Yes, correct.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what they do. They give feedback in a decentralized manner.
So what it's going to be worth is, in value economically, is that by the burning of the coins, then their value is expected to rise.
That's what math would suggest for it. We have to be very careful as to saying that there's going to be any sort of increase in the value of our token. We are a United States company, but we do burn a lot of tokens. If there's still market supply, it would seem if there's more scarcity of an item, that the value associated with that item would go up. Right here.
Hello. Independently from the capacitation process, have you considered any type of competitive process inside the system so that alumni can measure themselves against one another, and that can issue some kind of qualification, internal qualification, something like that?
I'm just having a hard time actually understanding what you're saying. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm going to put it this way. In Mexico, we've been working on a system for the internal education system so that the alumni can start kind of competing against each other.
Okay.
With a different set of rules against a goal. You see, we put them kind of a challenge to solve something. We get the best out of them and we qualify them. That way we can identify them. We are trying to get the best ones in different areas of programming and things like that through this system. We find out that it works because normally what we do is we qualify them. We say, hey, he has good grade, but that doesn't mean he's the better one. That's all I'm saying.
So I think that we kind of address this in our 6-week program. So one of the things that we do in there is we do a hackathon that you're required to build a distributed application on. However, the theme of what you're doing or the problem that you're trying to solve with that app changes from course to course. And what we do is we go to our industry and we say, hey, what are some of the issues that you're having problems with? And they'll give us a topic. And then for that hackathon, we'll be like, all right, cool. All the apps you're building, they're trying to deal with this. And then so we let them all sort of compete against other people in their classes to see what their ingenuity is like in building those applications out. And then also, like I said, with our token mechanic, you're actually competing against everyone in your class to do better than they are. Because if you perform in the top percentages of the class, you're actually going to get paid to have done well in the class. So while we might not have it as robust as what you're describing, it's definitely something that we think about, and it's something that we're open to doing more on in the future. I think that with anything like this, the hands-on stuff is really the only way to go, the only way to really learn this, and the only way to really be able to judge if someone actually understands it is to see them actually do it. Yep. So hackathons are something we're really passionate about, something that we want to support outside of our curriculum, and so those sorts of stuff I think that will be on our roadmap.
Okay.
Mr. Ira? Oh, one more question. Last one. Who wants to come in clutch? Everyone gets scared for the last question. All right, go for it.
First of all, hello, Mr. King. I have a question about this Academy School of Blockchain. What will be the requirements for a student in order to enter the academy?
Sure. So it's merit-based. We have an entrance exam. It's fairly strenuous. Having 4 to 5 years of experience as a full-stack developer, we find that people that have JavaScript or C++ experience do better in our entrance exam, but we don't have we've only done one, right? So we don't have a lot of data to know that that's actually a real correlation. But other companies that have hired developers and trained them up have had similar responses as to what people respond well to. So for our entrance exam, it's 4 to 5 years of experience in software development and being able to pass that entrance exam. Now, I do want to qualify that that's the only requirement. We're not age-based. There's a lot of, I've met 2 or 3 mothers or fathers of savants that are like, I've got this 15-year-old who's brilliant, and he's just kills it in coding, but he's not allowed to go take these classes at the local college. To hell with that. If there's a 15-year-old who kills it and can pass our exam, I will gladly give him a spot in our program. And I think that's the last question. Sorry, Adela, I will happily talk to you afterwards. And guys, everyone, give Ira and the team here at Panama Glass another round of applause for a great event.